Okay, good day everyone. Welcome to the first Google Hangout hosted by DWL. In this video, we will go over the National Education Technology Standards for students and teachers. Corey's going to go first.
So, hey everyone, I'm Corey, and for mine, I had the first standard for the technology standards. For the teacher will facilitate and inspire student learning and creativity. So, the teachers use their knowledge of subject matter, teaching and learning, and technology to facilitate experiences that advance student learning, creativity, and innovation, both face to face and in virtual environments. For the students, it is creativity and innovation, so students can demonstrate creative thinking, construct or build knowledge, and develop innovative products and processes using these technologies. So for the lesson plan for the first standard for teachers, the teacher can touch up on what he or she knows about figurative language for the student lesson, open up blogs for students to stay connected this way as well. It's always good for them to have a background knowledge as well. Introduce using interactive games, recalling what alliteration is, or different types of figurative language like personification. Um, Also for this, you'll need to learn Zoho and show a provided mini presentation from Teachers First on how he or she created um, the presentation after learning Zoho or other presentation sites. For the student lesson plan for Standard 1, this is for grades level 3 to 5. Students will create a presentation to show illustrative types of these figurative languages. Like I said, the teacher will need to come back and touch on that. Allow these students to use the interactive online tools to create similar presentations. You know, there's a site called Zoho, there's Prezi, there's PowerPoint, a lot of these things, and Zoho might be easier for younger students. This way they can demonstrate the understanding of personification and alliteration by creating and interpreting examples through these presentations, but also including audio examples where they can use their voice, imaging, bringing in pictures and video, and even writing about it or journaling about it on blogs. So when using these standards, I think it's important that we should think about making models and demonstrating the knowledge and technology by exploring and learning resources to help us as teachers know as much as we can for our students, and then use the differentiated or variety of resources available so we can make them available for our students as well, and they can create by whatever they're best at. It's also important to make sure students are using resources that are easy for them to help facilitate learning effectively and stay on top of the process by engaging them in what they're doing, including checking up with the blogs. So that is standard for 1.
Okay, so Corey, I have a question. So you talked about Zoho a little bit, but what really is Zoho?
Zoho is like an online presentation site. It's almost very, very similar to PowerPoint, but you don't need to have Microsoft to do it. You can just go online and access it right from the website. You just have to put in an email, and it does everything Microsoft does, but it's so much easier to navigate. There's tutorials on there. It doesn't take long at all, and it's very easy for younger students so they don't get as distracted. It's a good tool to use.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks. Um, so I will be doing standards 2 for teachers and students. Okay, so for the teacher standard, it is to design and develop digital age learning experiences and assessments. So teachers will design different learning experiences incorporating interactive tools and technology. These learning experiences will use technology to meet all students' needs, and the teacher will provide many different types of assessment to show if a student has reached their goal. For the student standard, it's communication and collaboration. So they will interact with their peers using technology, present information to others using different forms of media and technology, communicate with peers from different cultures to gain a better understanding of those cultures, and make contributions to a team with a common goal. So for my teacher lesson, it uses the interactive site teachersfirst.com, and it's interactive states thing. So it has all the 50 states on there, and it gives you a lot of good background information on these states. Your students may need to go to other resources to find extra information, but in the end, the students will get together and be able to present their material in a variety of different ways, and so depending on what they feel most comfortable with, they will be able to present that information. So for the student lessons, students will create presentations in groups about the historical, geographical, and cultural implications that have influenced the views of various groups of people found in the Middle East. Student groups will pick the role of either a Palestinian, Jew, or Brit. Students are to explore how the group they picked felt during the time when Israeli state was formed. Presentations will be based on research the students have completed using technology. Presentations may be given in forms of diary entries, blogs, PowerPoints, Google Doc presentations, Prezi, or videos. And my closing thoughts are to, for one, make sure that technology that you're using actually helps the students and not hinder them. Sometimes it's too hard to use for certain grade levels, and then make sure that all students can use a certain technology before you start grading them on it. If a student can't use a word processor, then obviously they're not going to be able to take the paper for you, but you might be still grading them on that. And just because you do not know how to work a certain type of technology as a teacher does not mean you should forget it exists. We need to go outside our comfort zone every once in a while and take time to learn. It may end up benefiting you and your students greatly. And that's it. Well, I guess I got sources too. There you go.
So, Ryan, I'm kind of curious, how does your lesson for your students incorporate the standards, the technology standards? How does that apply?
Okay, so I'll go back to it real quick. So in this lesson, students have to work as groups. So that's part of the collaboration and communication of Standard 2. So it's interacting with peers, and they're using technology. And then they had to present the information, and they get to pick what different form of technology or media they want. And then they all have to make contributions to the team that has a common goal. So that's how it works out.
Very good.
All right, I'm Amber, and I'm going to be doing Standards 3. So for the student standard, it's research and information fluency. This standard explains how students will be able to use digital tools in order to research topics and gain information. It goes on what sources and tools are appropriate for different occasions, and that students will be able to analyze and understand the information that they find. For the teacher standard, it says model digital age work and learning. This standard says that teachers will have knowledge and understanding of the innovative technology that can be used in the classroom. They will be able to transfer this knowledge to their students and peers into new technology that may arise. The most effective use of technology to assist with learning. Teachers will also collaborate with students and parents in order to support the success of their students. For the teacher lesson plan, I found one that's available for K through 3, and the students are going to incorporate technology into their daily 5, which is basically the warm-up, but 5 students give access into iPads, and they use educational apps to complete their warm-up, while the rest of the class will use whatever else means they can do to warm up. And then for the student lesson plan, it's for grades 2 to 3, and the students just research the difference between the 3 types of rocks, and they do this research through web-based material, and to do an assessment, they have to complete an online concept map and demonstrate their understanding between the differences of the rocks. And for my main 3 goals I took away, I said, as a teacher, you shouldn't try to force technology standards or any other standards into your lesson. If you see an used, then the standard should be used. So basically, like, form your lesson plans and then see if a standard will fit. Don't try to force them into it. And then when using technology in the classroom, it's important to make sure that all the students have it's your job to transfer this knowledge so that students have an equal chance of learning and succeeding. And incorporating technology standards into other concept areas will be very beneficial for the students because of the innovative world that we live in today. And that's that.
Okay, so that was great. So you talked about a little bit about using the iPads and stuff in the classroom, the daily 5 stuff, for the student lesson. So what apps, do you know any apps that you can actually use for different
Yeah,
kinds of
there's actually a really good app called iReady, which allows students to take a diagnostic test in different content areas, like specifically math and reading, and then based on their grade level, they'll be able to have lesson plans and or activities that they can do to better themselves. But it's like an individualized lesson lesson plan through the app.
Sounds great.
Alrighty. My name's Sam Pino. I'll be showing standards 4 for teachers and 4 and 6 for students. So if we take a look here. Alrighty. The National Educational Technology Standard for Teachers number 4 states that they will promote and model digital citizenship and responsibility. And you can see a brief description there. But some essential parts of it involve teaching students the safe, legal, and ethical use of digital information and technology, such as respect for copyrights or appropriate documentation. This is in regards to plagiarism, which a lot of us hear about all the time. They will also be addressing diverse needs of learners, taking into account the fact that different students have different amounts of access to various resources, some more than others, some less than others. They will promote responsible social interactions, meaning that they will teach students to protect themselves while on the internet, respecting others, just using appropriate etiquette. They will also encourage diverse cultural understanding through the use of communications with colleagues and students of other cultures. It's overall mainly about digital citizenship involving access, etiquette, law, wellness, etc., while online. Then if we look at the standard for students number 4, this involves critical thinking, problem solving, and decision making. Again, I've given you a brief description there, but basically this states that students should be able to identify problems and questions for investigation through their own brainstorming. They then need to be able to carry out their own research to collect and analyze data to identify solutions for those questions they came up with. They should use multiple processes and diverse perspectives in order to explore those solutions. There's a variety of apps they can use to do this, such as VoiceThread, Mixbook, etc. And then if we look at that last standard for students number 6, this is basically students understanding and using different technology systems, them being able to select and use these applications effectively in their work, and transferring their knowledge or newly learned or prior knowledge to these different technologies and learning how to use them through that expression of knowledge. An example lesson for that teacher standard number 4, a teacher can visit this digital citizenship site. It's got lots of cartoon characters, might appeal more to younger grades, although I said based on the guidance the teacher provides, could be through grades K through 5. It's got various games, videos, links to more information, just about what you would find on the internet, students' personal information that they shouldn't share versus public information that's safe to share online. It touches on cyberbullying to help prevent that issue or teach students how to defend themselves if they ever find themselves being bullied over the internet. So that's just a good site to explore. And then for the student standards, number 4, a good lesson would be to have students brainstorm a list of topics. For example, a type of pet, a favorite color, a favorite food, anything like that. They're going to brainstorm a list and then pick their favorite one that they want to collect data about. There's a site called Typeform where they can create their own survey or questionnaire that they can share with the class to then gather data on their topic. And then they will use a second resource called Online Chart Tool to create a sort of representation for their data, whether it be a bar graph or a pie chart or something along those lines. Just to draw their conclusions. This relates right back to the standard through the brainstorming and the researching and the different applications. This could be anywhere from grades 3 to 8, again, depending on how much guidance the teacher gives. And then that last standard Another lesson involves more research. For this, I give an example of animals. So each student has their own animal to research. They will use the Wizard.me app to create their own worksheet or find existing worksheets that they can blend together. And if they choose to do this option, they would also create an answer key for their worksheet just to show that they've gained that information for themselves. Or they also have the option to use noteflight.com, which allows them to create a song or use an existing tune, which they could create their own lyrics to express that information about their animal. This relates back to the standard, just selecting and using different applications effectively based on how well they learn, how well their peers learn. So they'll get to choose that. So then just some concluding thoughts that we should think about. First, when teaching students digital responsibility, it's necessary to focus on 3 aspects: respect, education, and protection. This way students can become more comfortable and familiar with their technology. They can avoid harming others, as well as defending themselves against intentional or unintentional harm from others. Secondly, while of course it is important and very helpful to incorporate technology into lessons and the school day, teachers need to encourage and allow students to put their own mind to use first, and then just use the technology to express what they already know within themselves, rather than using the technology as a crutch to gain their information. So it should just be more of an expression tool. And then lastly, it's just really important, of course, to remember that everyone in the learning community should realize that not everybody around them has their same level of familiarity with certain tools. So just to be respectful and help those who might need a little more help. So just teach them and be helpful. And that's it for me.
Sam, I just had a quick question. So you said for standard 4 for NETS, you said something about using, I wrote down, diverse perspectives to explore solutions. Could you maybe elaborate on that? It's interesting.
Yeah, of course. So by diverse perspectives, that could mean the different cultures that I was touching on, just to kind of keep teaching that diversity through technology. But going along with the multiple processes, it also could mean that students need to use various approaches, different applications with their technology, so that they can appeal to all types of learners, whether their classmates are visual learners or auditory. So it's just good for students to keep an open mind to, let me create a song for this project, or let me make a PowerPoint for this project, or type an essay for this one, and just kind of keep a nice variety in their work.
Okay, thanks. That answered my question. All right, I'm up next. I just have to share my screen. All right. All right, so I had the Technology Standards 5 for students and for teachers. And here are the standards for teachers. We have Standard 5, engage in professional growth and leadership. So teachers will continuously improve their professional practice, model lifelong learning, and exhibit leadership in their school and professional community by promoting and demonstrating the effective use of digital tools and resources. So Part A is participate in local and global learning communities to explore creative applications of technology to improve student learning. Part B says exhibit leadership by demonstrating a vision of technology infusion, participating in shared decision making and community building, and developing the leadership and technology skills of others. And then we have evaluate and reflect on current research and professional practice on a regular basis to make effective use of existing and emerging digital tools and resources in support of student learning. And then lastly, we have contribute to the effectiveness, vitality, and self-renewal of the teaching profession and of their school and community. And then we have the standards for students. Standard 5 is digital citizenship. Students understand human, cultural, and societal issues related to technology and practice legal and ethical behavior. So we have advocate and practice safe, legal, and responsible use of information and technology, exhibit a positive attitude toward using technology that supports collaboration, learning, and productivity, demonstrate personal responsibility for lifelong learning, and exhibit leadership for digital citizenship. Okay, so here's what I found for the NETS-T for the teachers. I found this website called OK2Ask, which I found actually really cool and helpful. It offers free live online virtual workshops for teacher professional development, and it's interactive and practical. It's packed with great ideas you can use in your K through 12 classrooms, and it's also conveniently scheduled for after work hours. So it's really practical for any teacher who would want to do some professional development on this site. And it's available in live and archived without credit or with credit formats. And it's provided for teachers as a courtesy by SFL's Teachers First staff, so it's free, which is also great. And for students, I found this website called Teach and Control. It's a great website, actually. I found a lot of good resources. It's definitely something I would use in my classroom. I found a digital citizenship lesson called Living in a Digital World. Here are just some of the objectives. Identify digital media technologies and communities, compare and contrast online communities to offline communities, evaluate appropriate technology use, understand the rights and responsibilities of a digital citizen, and participate respectfully and responsibly in an online community. So I definitely recommend going to this website to check it out. I found it really interesting. It gives you everything you need for the lesson, and some of their other lessons looked great too. And in conclusion, some points to remember when using technology standards. Professional development and keeping an updated understanding and knowledge of current technology is key for teachers to facilitate learning in today's world and to model lifelong learning for their students. Teaching safe, legal, and ethical use of technology is important, especially due to recent events involving cyberbullying. I know I've seen it all over the news, and it's really important to educate our students about, as Samantha was saying, how to avoid this, what to do if they're confronted with something like cyberbullying and how to deal with it, and also avoid it in the first place. And it's also important to keep in mind that the ability to use technology effectively might be contingent on a student's socioeconomic status at home. So it's just something to keep in mind. Not every student is going to come to the classroom with a full range of abilities in the technology world. A lot of it will be stuff that you have to teach them. So it's important to keep that in mind. And these are just my references, the digital citizenship, the standards, and the template I found. So I thought this was really cool, the template for Prezi. That's right there, the Teachers Back to School Night template. It's pretty cool. And the Teachers First.
Right. I really liked your presentation a lot. It overlapped with a lot of what I talked about regarding the digital citizenship and cyberbullying. So that was really interesting. I also was interested when you started talking about professional development, especially online, because I'm personally working on that myself. I'm a little bit new to it. Just wondering if you had any more thoughts or information on that.
I was actually just looking into the conditions for learning technology, the essential conditions that we had to look over, and engaged communities was one of them. So partnerships and collaboration within communities to support the fund the use of ICT and digital learning resources. So I thought this website that I found, the Professional Development Online, is great for teachers, and it's important to be practical too, because obviously teachers are busy. So it's awesome that it's free to begin with and that it's after school hours. So yeah, I thought that was great.
Yeah, I'll definitely be checking out that link from your site, the references. Thanks.
Okay, so that concludes our first Google Hangout for the DWL group. Krista, Sam, Corey, Amber, and myself would like to thank you all for listening in, and have a great day. Thank you.